Hello everyone, welcome to Real Crime Stories HQ channel. The story takes place in Breckenridge, a town in Summit County, Colorado, located in the Rocky Mountains. It's famous for its ski resorts. Winter is the peak tourist season, attracting a large number of visitors. About 24 kilometers south of Breckenridge is a peaceful mountain town called Alma in Park County. The residents here are warm and kind, with friendly neighborly relations. In those days, the townspeople's income wasn't high, and few owned private cars, so hitchhiking became the primary mode of transportation for residents. The couple in Alma. In the town of Alma lived a couple. The husband, Jeff Oberholzer, was 26 that year and ran an appliance repair business. He had his own car and often gave rides to others on the road. The wife, Bobbie Oberholzer, was 29 and worked as a receptionist at a local real estate company. The couple commuted in different directions, so Bobbie usually hitchhiked to work, a half-hour journey. Concerned for his wife's safety, Jeff made her a yellow keychain for self-defense if needed. Life went on like this day by day. They had been married for 4.5 years and were planning to have a child to welcome a new life. The blizzard and Bobbie's disappearance. In 1982, a massive blizzard swept through Colorado. On January 6, 1982, a Wednesday, Colorado experienced a rare blizzard. Strong winds mixed with snowflakes engulfed the entire mountainous area, with roads covered in thick snow. Television broadcasted weather reports repeatedly, warning that nighttime temperatures could drop to minus 30 degrees Celsius, advising people to stay warm. That day was Bobbie's promotion day. After work, she met up with a few friends at a nearby bar to celebrate. Everyone quickly forgot about the cold and the raging storm outside. Bobbie called her husband, telling him not to worry and that she'd head home right after the gathering. Under the dim yellow lights of the bar, Bobbie's face beamed with joy. Friends raised glasses together to congratulate her on the promotion. After-work leisure time was precious. They drank and shared fun stories from work and life, bursting into laughter from time to time. After about an hour and a half, Bobbie felt tired and bid farewell to everyone to head home. Her friends suggested she stay a bit longer so they could drive her back. But seeing it was getting late and worried her husband might be anxious, Bobbie declined and left first. Outside the bar, snowflakes danced in the air and the howling wind scraped her cheeks, making her shiver. Only a few cars dotted the streets. Gloves couldn't fend off the cold. Bobbie kept rubbing her hands while waiting by the road to hitch a ride. Not long after, a driver spotted Bobbie outside the bar and pulled over. Bobbie thanked the kind driver and got into the warm cabin. With the engine roaring, the car carried Bobbie into the vast night. Jeff's worry and search. Meanwhile, Jeff had gotten off work early and returned home. He received his wife's call and didn't think much of it. At that time, a friend visited, and Jeff was busy hosting. After the friend left, Jeff lay down to rest, waiting for his wife, but fell asleep unknowingly. Suddenly, waking from a dream, he checked beside him. It was still empty. It was already midnight. He immediately called his wife, but couldn't get through no matter what. Realizing something was wrong, he put on a coat, grabbed his keys, and drove to the home of one of the friends Bobbie had been with. The blizzard was raging mercilessly. Jeff drove alone on the night road, growing increasingly anxious. Braving the heavy snow, he finally reached his friend's door. The friend, already asleep, was woken by the noisy knocking and opened the door groggily. Without brushing off the snow on his shoulders, Jeff urgently asked if they knew where Bobbie was. The friend shook their head, saying Bobbie had left before 8 p.m. to go home and had no idea about her whereabouts after that. Hearing this, Jeff felt an ominous premonition. He drove another 20 kilometers to the Breckenridge police station. However, the police told him that only a few hours had passed since the disappearance, which wasn't enough to file a case. That night, Jeff tossed and turned. The next morning, while at home, he received a call from a ranch owner living 20 kilometers northeast of their house. The ranch owner said that during his morning patrol, he spotted some items on the driveway. Upon closer inspection, he found a driver's license and personal belongings. The license belonged to Bobbie. The ranch owner called the home number on it and reached Jeff. After the call, Jeff didn't waste a minute. He called a friend and headed to the ranch together. Along the way, they carefully observed the snowy ground outside the window and indeed spotted a conspicuous blue backpack, exactly the one Bobbie carried when going out. They got out, entered the snow, and after searching, found a blood-stained glove and some tissues not far from the backpack. They continued looking nearby but couldn't find Bobbie. Disheartened, Jeff retrieved the license from the ranch and returned home. His friends didn't give up and decided to search the route Bobbie must have taken home. They brought snowboards to Hoosier Pass, located between Breckenridge and Alma, 16 kilometers from Breckenridge at an elevation of 3,500 meters. Due to the recent blizzard, the pass was covered in thick white snow up to calf height. They stepped on snowboards into the pass, carefully observing the surroundings. Soon, they found Jeff's wife Bobbie in a snow pile under the trees. She had no signs of life. Examination of Bobbie's body and initial investigation. After receiving the murder report, a large number of officers rushed to the Hoosier Pass scene. Due to the cold temperatures, the body was frozen. Her hands were tied with plastic zip ties, and there were 2 gunshot wounds on her chest. The blue sweater was torn by bullets. The medical examiner concluded the cause of death was gunshot wounds from a medium-caliber revolver. Next, investigators searched the area around Hoosier Pass. In the parking lot at the base of the mountain, they found Bobbie's yellow keychain, the one Jeff had made for her. The police also discovered an orange short sock, oddly not belonging to Bobbie. Additionally, a backpack of unknown origin was found nearby, containing hard drugs and other items. Upon learning of his wife's murder, Jeff was devastated. He handed the blood-stained glove found in the snow to the police. Lab tests revealed the blood on the glove belonged to a male, likely the perpetrators. Since DNA technology was immature at the time, the police could only preserve the blood-stained glove as evidence. Who was the killer? The driver who gave Bobbie a ride that night was a prime suspect, but no one saw if she got into someone else's car. As the husband, Jeff naturally became the police's first suspect. Jeff underwent police questioning. He said that on the night of the incident, he was home entertaining a friend until midnight, then went out to look for Bobbie. But for some reason, this friend never appeared during the police investigation, so no one could provide Jeff with an alibi. Annette Schnee's disappearance. The day after Bobbie was found, Breckenridge police received another report from a bar employee. Their colleague, Annette, had gone missing 2 days prior. 2 women disappearing in a short time was rare locally, so the police paid immediate attention. Annette Schnee was born in Iowa, 21 that year. Her mother remarried and the family had 4 siblings. Annette was a happy, free-spirited girl dreaming of becoming a flight attendant. 4 years earlier, after high school graduation, she moved to Breckenridge. By day, she worked as a housekeeper at the Holiday Inn, by night as a part-time server at a bar. She was outgoing, got along well with colleagues, and worked diligently. After not showing up for work for 2 days and no response to calls, colleagues reported to the police. The investigation traced Annette's movements. 2 days before, she worked at the hotel, then hitchhiked to a pharmacy in Breckenridge. Around 4:45 p.m., a witness saw her talking to a woman at the pharmacy. Around 5 p.m., Annette hitchhiked home to go to her bar shift, but disappeared afterward. With 2 women missing the same night, the police found the case unusual. They approached Bobbie's husband Jeff again, asking if he knew Annette. Initially, Jeff denied it, but 2 days later, seeing Annette's photo in the newspaper, he recalled something and voluntarily told the police. He had met Annette once a year ago when she hitched a ride with him, but they had no contact since. This voluntary confession increased police suspicion. 2 months after the incident, Jeff passed a police lie detector test. The cases had no more clues and stalled for a long time. Discovery of Annette's body and linking the cases. 6 months later, there was a breakthrough. In Park County, 37 kilometers from Breckenridge, Annette's body was found. It was summer vacation, a boy fishing with his father at Sacramento Creek, a remote area with dense bushes where few people went. The boy spotted a body floating in the stream and told his father, who reported to the police. Police arrived quickly. The woman was face down in the water, wearing winter clothes, disheveled, jeans damaged, shoes on the wrong feet, with signs of assault before death. This victim was Annette, missing for half a year. Examination revealed a gunshot wound on her back from the same medium-caliber revolver. She was likely shot while fleeing with her back turned. During the scene survey, Annette's socks caught attention, left foot in an orange short sock, right in a striped long sock. In her sweatshirt pocket, they found the matching striped long sock, but the other short sock was missing. This orange sock was identical in size and style to the one found at Bobbie's scene. The unknown backpack at Bobbie's site was confirmed as Annette's. The new evidence proved the 2 murders were by the same perpetrator. Police theorized. The killer first picked up Annette, developed ill intent, assaulted her in the car. Annette hurriedly dressed, couldn't find her left long sock, so wore an orange short sock instead, then escaped in boots. The killer chased her and shot her in the back. The remaining orange short sock stayed in the car. After killing Annette, the killer picked up Bobbie from the bar, intending to commit the crime. Bobbie resisted fiercely, injuring the killer. His blood stained her glove. Then Bobbie was shot in the chest. When disposing of Bobbie's items, the killer mistook the sock in the car for hers and discarded it together. Increased suspicion on Jeff. In Annette's bag, police found a business card from Bobbie's husband, Jeff. Though Jeff had admitted knowing Annette half a year earlier, the card greatly raised his suspicion. Jeff explained he was promoting his appliance repair business and gave cards to nearly every hitchhiker, including Annette. His explanation made sense, but couldn't be proven. Coincidentally, Jeff had told police he had a premonition Annette's body would be found on July 4 miles from his home. In reality, it was found on July 3, 6 miles, 9.7 kilometers away, eerily accurate. If not coincidence, it suggested he was the killer. Reinvestigating relationships, neighbors said Jeff cared for his wife. Their marriage was harmonious with rare arguments. But some said 2 days before her death, Bobbie brought home cold pizza and Jeff flew into a rage, a very weak murder motive. As the only person known to both victims, Jeff took another lie detector test and passed again. Other suspects and stagnation. 8 years later, the friend Jeff entertained that night finally appeared. Perhaps due to the long time, the friend's memory of the visit time didn't match Jeff's statement, so Jeff still lacked an alibi. At the time, Colorado had a serial killer named Thomas Edward Luther serving life for multiple rape murders. In 1982, Luther committed a crime in Breckenridge. He picked up a young woman, assaulted her. Later, he bragged to a cellmate about killing Bobbie and Annette. Police gave him a lie detector. Results showed he was boasting. The victims' families never stopped pursuing the killer. Annette's family hired a private investigator to search for evidence using every method, but to no avail. The two cases became cold cases. DNA advancements in arresting the killer. 10 years passed and DNA technology's development brought a turning point. At the time of the case, DNA in the US was in its infancy. In 1985, DNA was first used as key evidence in a Florida case to convict a suspect. 2 years later, the U.S. established its first DNA lab to assist police in solving cases and exonerating the innocent. Entering the 1990s, DNA technology advanced rapidly, greatly improving accuracy and efficiency in solving cases. States set up DNA databases and labs. Jeff's and Luther's DNA were extracted and compared to the blood sample on the glove, proving both unrelated to the case. In 1998, the killer's DNA was entered into the crime database but found no match. In the 21st century, DNA breakthroughs incorporated genealogy research in solving cases. Using DNA samples compared to databases, even partial matches could find relatives and trace the killer. Early 2021, a Denver company took on the genealogical investigation for Bobbie and Annette's murders. The glove's DNA sample was uploaded to a genealogy database, and, as hoped, it matched multiple points with a pair of brothers. Police targeted two suspects, Bruce Phillips and Alan Lee Phillips. Contacting the older brother Bruce first, he said he'd never lived in Colorado, but his estranged younger brother did. Investigation showed in 1982, Alan lived in Breckenridge's suburbs, working at a local airport. Suspect Alan Lee Phillips was born in February 1951. At 23, he picked up a hitchhiking woman, stopped in a remote spot, beat her with rocks, and served 6 months in jail. After release, he continued living in Breckenridge. In 1982, Alan was 31. Now, he was a 70-year-old man living in Clear Creek near Breckenridge, running a mechanical repair shop, married 3 times, with 1 daughter and 2 sons. With the lead, investigators secretly surveilled Alan to obtain his DNA. Progress wasn't smooth. Alan was very cautious, like a recluse staying home with little interaction. In over a month of surveillance, he didn't even throw out trash once. Investigators didn't give up and waited. Finally, one day, Alan went out to eat. He drove to Sonic Dragon, a fast food chain with drive-in ordering. Customers order without leaving the car, and staff deliver food to the window. Alan didn't get out, he ordered and ate in the car. A plainclothes investigator quietly approached, observing Alan under the cover of passing customers and vehicles. Soon, he finished eating and left with the bag. Investigators followed to the post office. Alan entered the fast food bag and exited with only mail. After Alan left, investigators entered the post office and searched, finally finding the discarded bag in the trash. The bag was sent to the lab. Their efforts paid off. They extracted Alan's DNA from saliva on tissues. Comparison showed Alan's DNA perfectly matched the glove sample. He was the true killer of Bobbie and Annette. With key evidence, police intercepted Alan at a Dumont traffic stop and handcuffed him. Alan was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and other crimes. He denied involvement, claiming the old DNA evidence might be contaminated, but no one believed his excuses. Arrest news and shocking revelation. The case's resolution made national headlines. Victims' families couldn't hold back tears. Over 40 years, they endured unimaginable hardships and pain, persistently seeking justice for their loved ones. Finally, they received news of the killer's capture. Alan's young photos were released at a press conference. Police suspected he committed more crimes and urged the public for clues. Soon after, an elderly man from Clear Creek contacted police. His story left everyone stunned. 40 years ago, he had personally saved this devil's life. On January 6, 1982, the very night Bobbie and Annette were killed, the elderly man was Ivan Montoya, fire captain in Clear Creek. The weather was terrible. A blizzard hit all of Colorado, sealing some mountain roads and making travel difficult. That day, Montoya was on duty when he received a rescue mission from the dispatcher just before midnight. Earlier, when weather was clearer, a United Airlines flight from Denver to California had Fairplay County Sheriff Harold E. Bray on board. Shortly after takeoff, over Gunella Pass, Bray looked out the window and noticed flickering lights in the night. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. The SOS distress signal. Someone was trapped in the blizzard needing help. Bray alerted the captain, who sent the light's coordinates to ground control. The dispatcher contacted on-duty fire captain Montoya. Montoya drove to Gunella Pass, judging the victim might be a tourist caught in the sudden blizzard. Outdoor temperatures were low and dropping to -30 degrees. The tourist's life was in danger. Thinking this, Montoya sped toward the coordinates. 15 minutes after the mission, he reached Gunella Pass, climbed higher, and found the trapped person shivering in his pickup truck. Seeing rescuer Montoya, he excitedly said, "Oh God, I'm saved." This trapped person was Alan Lee Phillips, a mechanic at the airport where Montoya had once worked. Montoya recognized Alan and asked why he was there. Alan said he got drunk, drove home, then a blizzard hit, blurring the road. He wandered into the mountains, couldn't find the way out. Snow piled up, temperatures dropped. His truck was soon buried. Facing despair, he heard a plane overhead and cleverly used the truck's headlights to signal SOS. Fortunately, Sheriff Bray on the plane understood the signal, saw it, and later Montoya arrived to rescue him. Montoya marveled at Alan's luck, but noticed a clear wound above Alan's right eye. Alan explained he went to relieve himself, didn't see the way back, and bumped into the truck. Montoya laughed heartily, drove Alan out of the mountains. He wanted to take Alan to the hospital, but Alan refused repeatedly, saying it was a minor injury, not worth it. So Montoya dropped him home and left. This snowy night rescue drew local media attention. Many newspapers reported it, one even next to the news of finding Bobbie's body, now looking bitterly ironic. Alan was interviewed, recounting his thrilling survival. Locals felt glad for Alan's good fortune while pitying Bobbie's tragic fate. No one imagined this rescued Alan was Bobbie's killer. Inferred crime process. Though DNA confirmed, Alan refused to confess. Below is the inferred crime process. On the afternoon of January 6, 1982, around 5 p.m., Alan drove in Breckenridge streets and spotted lone Annette. Annette had just picked up medicine at the pharmacy and was preparing to hitchhike home for her bar shift. Seeing Annette young and beautiful, Alan harbored evil thoughts and drove her away. Annette's home was nearby, but Alan didn't stop, accelerating onward to a more remote area. Desolate with no one around, her cries for help were futile. Then Alan assaulted Annette. Later, Annette seized a chance, pushed the door, and ran wildly. Alan, fearing exposure, got out to chase and shot her in the back. Annette fell dead from the back wound. Still shaken, Alan dumped her in the creek and fled hastily. On the way back to Breckenridge, he discarded Annette's backpack but missed the orange short sock in the car corner. By around 8 p.m., perhaps his inner demons unquenched, he targeted Bobbie waiting for a ride outside the bar. Under the snowy night's cover, he drove her south, passing Hoosier Pass. Seeing no one around, he pulled Bobbie out, intending assault. Bobbie refused, grabbed her defensive keychain, resisted fiercely, injuring Alan's right eye during the struggle. Blood stained the glove. Rage boiling, Alan shot twice at her chest. Bobbie fell dead from the back wound. Still shaken, Alan dumped her in the snow pile under the trees, hoping heavy snow would bury her. Back in the car, he noticed the orange sock in the corner, mistook it for Bobbie's, and discarded it with the keychain near the parking lot. Then he fled. He drove east, disposing of Bobbie's remaining items. He threw the backpack and blood-stained glove into roadside snow. Further on, he tossed Bobbie's license near a ranch. Panicking like a rat, snow and darkness disoriented him. He accidentally entered Guanila Pass, climbed higher, and got trapped in the snow. That night's temperature was minus 30 degrees. Without discovery, he'd freeze to death. Unexpectedly, a series of coincidences let Alan get rescued and enjoy 40 more years of peace. Trial and conclusion. In September 2022, the Bobbie and Annette murder case opened in Park County. The trial lasted 2 months. In November, after deliberation, the jury quickly agreed. The court sentenced defendant Alan Lee Phillips guilty of 2 first-degree murders and other charges, life without parole. The septuagenarian, Alan, finally received due punishment, serving in a Colorado state prison. But less than half a year in February 2023, 72-year-old Alan died in prison, cause unknown. Many felt the punishment came too late and too light. In the victims' families' hearts, as time passed after the incident, catching the killer seemed an impossible wish. It was the development of forensic science that finally brought justice. Though justice came late, at least it didn't absent itself.